Hey everybody, it's John Schwabish. This is the Tableau visualization I made for the week one Back2VizBasics project, sort of going back to week one after having done the week two video last week. What we had here, what we provided with was information about the winningest basketball coaches in NCAA Division I history. So I made a pretty simple scatter plot. I wasn't trying to do a ton here, but I will just say, like, looking at what other folks did, there was a lot more I could have done here, I think. And like looking back on it, clearly what I was aiming for here was just to create a exploratory dashboard, because otherwise I should have said something more here in the title, right? Because otherwise people just have to sort of click around and sort of explore it. I've given a little bit of annotation here, and I added a little bit like highest winning percentage and lowest winning percentage, but I really think I probably could have done more with the annotation and the labels and giving people more information. What I was playing around with was just learning how to do these little annotation boxes. And, I'm not quite sure of the difference between like mark, point, and area and how these differ. So I'm sort of playing around with these a little bit and, trying to turn the pointer lines on and off. So I'm still sort of learning that piece. And I'm sort of getting there, I think, on this one. I mean, this is pretty relatively straightforward and not astounding. The one thing I would say that I would improve or change about this is you'll notice that I added color here for the different 10-year bands of experience. But I think maybe that's a little too subtle. Like, I don't think if we go to the dashboard, like, I didn't even mark it here on the dashboard. I think it's a little too subtle. So what I would have done, I think, instead, in retrospect, is to shade each of those 10-year coaching bands. And I want to show you how I've sort of kind of figured this out a little bit, obviously with the help of many others, especially Kevin, who keeps getting shout outs in these videos. And I'm sure will continue to do so until he gets tired of me. But let me just show you, like, the way I think this is the right way to do it is to drop a reference band in here. And the thing about the reference band that I will say bothers me is that it adds a vertical and a horizontal reference band. And maybe that shouldn't bother me because that's what Excel does with its error bars. But let's just say I want to go from 0 to 5. I can add these in. And then for the colors, I can pick like that light yellow. And that's so now to change it, I don't quite understand this. Like, why do I have to click on the edge of this? Like that, I feel like, and I clicked the wrong thing, like I have to edit. Why do I have to click on the edge of that band as opposed to right in the middle? Like, there's nothing else here. I should be able to click right in the middle. And then to delete the horizontal part, you sort of have to get to the edge and click remove. Okay, great. Now I can add another one. Took me a while to figure out that there's a lot of stuff going on in this analytics tab here. But I found it. And once again, I can go constant. I can go 10. I'm leaving all the other stuff on. Obviously, I could have, I would get rid of all these labels and stuff. But now here, of course, what happens when I get to the end and I have to create my own shades that, there are 5, right, instead of the 3 here. So I have to create my own, which is a little bit of work, but not the end of the world. So this might be a little bit better, right? Get those. Well, let me get rid of this one. Obviously, a little bit better to make that clearer. But I want to show you one other thing that I learned in making the dashboard for the week 2 version of Back2VizBasics. So if you didn't watch that video, go check it out. But I just want to show you one thing here. So if I make a line chart for this particular data, which is the unemployment rate, I'm just going to show. I'll make this a line. I'll change that color. So let's just say I have this one line, and in the final dashboard, I had recession bands, recessions in the United States, and I ended up doing those the same way I just showed you using the banding technique, and it works nicely for the drop down or the tooltips here. But the way I did it initially was a different way, and I sort of copied the way that I tend to do this in Excel. So I did a calculated field, and I made a formula that said, okay, if you're in these date ranges, so this is the 2001 recession, the financial crisis, and then the recession at the beginning of the pandemic. So if you give me, add up, give me 100 in each of those months. So I'm sort of marking those months out, right? So that's just a simple calculation, able to figure that out. I do like the way you can sort of easily reference a specific date using the little hashtag with the numbers inside. That was kind of nice. I was playing around with all these formulas and stuff, and that was a really nice way to do it. So if I drag this over to the rows shelf, I get this other graph, and I can make this into a bar chart. And I could change the color to be like a really light gray. Whoops. So now it's separate. Oh, I'm in the wrong spot. So I can change the color here to be a really nice gray. Boom. Okay. And I can these are all nicely, like, I could change the size a little bit to sort of get rid of the separation if I needed. And then I can make this a dual axis chart. And because I messed that up already, let me go back, make that a line. Okay, so I've got that. Now, I don't know why when I make this a dual axis chart, it undoes the color decision I already made. So we'll have to fix that. Another little thing, little irksome thing. And I'm going to move the marks to the back. And now I'm pretty close. And the thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to change the axis to go to 1,000. Okay, or go to 100. Really, I want to go to 100 because that's what I had set the marker to. And this seems to work. And I could hide these and just do that. And I can hide it, and I'm pretty much set. But the thing that I realized is when I add this to the tooltip. So here's the original tooltip using the banding, right? So I'm going to undo that. I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to insert the chart that the sheet that I just made, and click OK. Now when I get in here, it doesn't always work. I mean, and it sort of like renders it. Now it's not, of course, when I show it doing the video, like it all works perfectly, but it doesn't quite work perfectly. And the other thing that I'll say, and also, like, why is it so hard to reset a map in Tableau? Someone tell me that. The other thing I'll say is, like, to do this, to get these bars stuck together, I had to change the width of the bars. And you'll see as I stretch this down a little bit, because that's each individual month. And as I make them wider, it's wider around the month point, right? So if, like, the first one is, whatever it is, it was March of 2001, it's a little wider than the actual. It's just the left edge of the bar should be at March 2001. I think I have to think about that a little bit more. But so I don't think that this is, like, when I make this really thick, I don't think this is totally right anymore because they're sort of overlapping. So the banding is probably the better way, except that I also don't love that I can't really edit the background on this label. I mean, I guess I could leave the label off and then do it manually with a text box in the dashboard. That's probably the right way to do it. But I would be curious to know how other people use these bands as opposed to merging something like this together. I think the bands is probably the better way to do it, even though it might be a little more tedious to sort of get it set up, as opposed to making like a single calculated field. But I think they're probably a little bit better, a little more accurate. And it seemed like as I was making this visualization earlier, it was rendering better in the tooltip. But this video really was about this week one scatter plot. I think there's a lot more I could do here and improve. And I'm trying to figure that out, trying to figure out when I'm working in Tableau, should I be telling a story, loosely defined story? Should I be making an argument or telling, my conclusion or my point? Or should I be making something that is more exploratory, where you go in and dive in and explore the data, which is sort of what I associate with Tableau because it is interactive, right? I could make this in Excel, which is my sort of like happy place to make visualizations. So is this a better way to go? I don't quite know. I'm not quite there yet. We have the week 3 data, so I'm going to dive into that this week, and I'll make another video when that's done. So let me know what you think. If you have suggestions, ways to make these better, way to be more efficient at that, I'd love to hear your thoughts. So thanks so much. Subscribe to this channel and check out more videos.